Now let's talk about stop. I think it's unfair of me to speak to you as a salesperson, as a sales manager, or indeed as a business owner if we don't unburden you before we reburden you. So you need to be very strict on yourself to reduce the mistakes that are made around the world, which you can get away with in non-tougher economic times. But all of a sudden the heat comes on, your competitors are stepping up, and we need to stop these things. They're getting in the way of what you're doing. And I remember seeing a quote years ago that said, at the end of your life, what you said no to will have a greater impact on your success than what you said yes to. If we work in sales, if we work in sales management, if we're business owners, we're entrepreneurial optimists. We typically go for new things. We've got to be prepared to step away. Mistake number one in today's market is reliance only on the KPI trap. Reliance only on let's smash out calls, let's smash out visits. I'm not denying that upping the quality of those combined with the quantity will be a good thing, but just getting obsessed. This gets interpreted by most sales team members as micromanagement. This drives away, if you've got any experienced lone wolves in your team who are very good and very disciplined and they can achieve great results through their 20 or 30 years of experience. If you get obsessed around KPIs, you're going to drive away any high-performing lone wolves in your team, and you'll probably demotivate and disempower. So one of the core traits of a great leader is empowerment. They empower themselves with skills and coaching and knowledge, and they empower their team to take responsibility. That way they don't need to micromanage them. But this becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you're micromanaging your team, you're disempowering them. If you're disempowering them, they take on less personal responsibility and they develop less self-leadership. As a result, you have to further monitor them because they haven't got self-leadership. And the irony being, you, the sales manager, were the ones that did the disempowerment to begin with. You created a problem for yourself. So this is what you've got to get obsessed about in today's tougher marketplace. It's something that we spend a lot of time in our academy talking about. You need to think about the quantity, which is KPIs, plus the quality, plus the consistency. If there was one area that I see time and time again of people dropping this off, is consistency. Why? Because in tougher economic times, there's always an excuse of the, oh, I can't do that because, oh, I can't do that because, oh, we haven't got time to do that because. Just to be clear, we haven't got time for your team to smash out a bunch of quantity without focusing on the quality of the work. That means preparing scripts and calls, entering details into the CRM, following up customers with the proposals they requested and following those proposals with phone calls or pre-agreeing the next steps, looking at those myriad of different quality steps that we could take. Likewise, consistency. We need to be like a metronome in business right now. Week in, week out, boring though it is, the sales team do 3 LinkedIn posts a week. They make 50 outbound calls a week. They do 12 visits face-to-face a week. 6 of those are about account management. 4 of those are new business development. 2 of them is to scope a job. Whatever your ratios are, you've got to be monotonous and consistent about that. So not only do we need to get clear right now about the quantity of activities of your sales team, but you need to be clear on the quality of those activities and then consistency. You've got to be religious about that, like a metronome ticking on top of a piano, week in, week out. That's the battleground for sales managers. These are time wasters. If you're guilty of these, then stop it. If your sales team's guilty of any of these, stop them now. This is what's getting in the way of them doing the right activities to the right quality level. They're phoning the wrong contacts. They're fishing in the wrong pond. You've bought a list or database. You've made 1,000 phone calls. It hasn't turned into any meetings. And you're still, to get a payback on buying that list, you're still calling that list. Wrong contacts is a major issue. Likewise, wrong timing. Now, there's 2 aspects of this. Now is a good time to call. But a lot of salespeople go wrong and say, well, it was the wrong person to call because they said, I'm not interested right now. It might be seasonal in your business. So be mindful of that. You need to understand macroeconomic conditions to understand how to lead a business or a team. Number 3, so common, I'll address this again today, wrong processes. There are 4 main types of sales process that people need to master, which typically we cover as the backbone for our sales academy. There should be a process for winning new customers. There should be a process for proactively managing existing customers. There should be a process for inbound, qualifying in the right jobs, qualifying out the wrong opportunities. And there should be a process your team follow to scope a job and fact find and control the conversation and pitch your value proposition and handle objections and close. That's 4 processes, not 1 sales process, but 4 sales processes. Number 4, the wrong skills and scripts. You could have the right process, but you haven't got the quality of the script, or you haven't got the mindset or the skills or the role-playing experience within your sales team. So you're contacting the right people, the timing is right, you're following the right process, but your team aren't skilled enough at a quality level to use the right skills and the right script. So the execution is weak. 9 times out of 10, a sales manager or a business owner says, well, we did the wrong strategy. Just to be clear, point number 4, that's what we spent most of our lives until 4 years ago coaching people on. Now we find we have to do a high degree of accountability on people and lower the amount of skills and scripts training, because that number 4 by itself isn't enough. But number 1 plus 2 plus 3 is only good if it's effectively integrated in quality of number 4. And then finally, wrong follow-up. I'm sick and tired. I'm so sorry to hear, and you should be sick and tired. I'm sorry if you hear this a lot, but what do I do to follow the person up? Here's golden rule number 1. Before you send a proposal out, any member of the sales team, you should say to the customer, when can I follow you up? Let's book it into our calendars face-to-face via webcam or on the phone. Book in time to review that quote or proposal. Just do that. Not every customer will agree. You've got to stand your ground as a sales team. You've got to learn to be respectfully assertive and book in that next step, because that's the best form of follow-up you can do. The point at which we have the highest degree of leverage is just before we submit our proposal. Once we submit our proposal, away goes our IP or intellectual property. They've then got our ideas. They could shop it around to opposition who are less technical than us. They could go for the cheapest price in the marketplace. Whereas before you send that proposal, you have more leverage over someone's calendar. So the wrong follow-up is done time and time again, plus people follow the wrong scripting on follow-up.